Good morning to one and all. First of all, I am introducing myself. My name is Rajiv and I am handling the subject chemistry. Now I am delivering the subject for the Sabari Sunset College, those who joined there in that institution. For that purpose, I am conducting this class. So I don't know you already attended my class or not. I think you all are first time attending my class. So today I am going to discuss the first topic for your 12th standard, that is solid state. I think you all are completely covered the topic and you completed your 12th standard public exam also. So before starting the topic, I just deliver some point for your benefit of the classes. See, when you are attending the crash course, you are already getting the timetable and you are already getting the topic, whatever it is discussed in each and every day. So before attending the class, you just go through the content. Now, whatever it is, you already learned it and you have to thorough that content. After that, you have to attend the class. Nowadays, our situation you know, and COVID-19, and to overcome that problem, some limitations are there for conducting the classes and all. So on the basis of that one, you have to take initiative and you have to overcome it. How to overcome? That means we are conducting the classes nowadays, online classes. So when you are attending the class, the important thing is you must be very much active and very much prepared the content also. Then only you will be getting the result there. So by that limitations, now today we can discuss the topic, that is solid state, the first lesson, the 12th standard. So in that chapter, first of all you studied what are the different types of solid. Solids are mainly classified into two types. Which are they? Okay, crystalline solid and amorphous solid. You know the difference between crystalline solid and amorphous solid. All the points you already learned it. And in the difference, the main point is crystalline solid is which in nature? It is anisotropic in nature, and amorphous solid is isotropic in nature. So you know the difference between those two terms. What is anisotropic and what is isotropic? Same way in the case of you. In the chapter, you just specify the two terms crystalline and amorphous. In addition to that, pseudo solids also there. Are you familiar with this term? Pseudo solids. Pseudo solid means they are, this term you studied there in many chapters, pseudo order reaction. In which chapter you studied pseudo order reaction? Yes, chemical kinetics. Pseudo means actually it is a negative meaning, pseudo solid. They are not solid, but they show the properties of solid. Pseudo solid means the solid that suddenly changes when you are applying some forces or internal conditions when you are applying, the solid will lose its property. That type of solids are called pseudo solid. When you take an example for pseudo solid, the best example for pseudo solid is glass is a pseudo solid. Glass, you know the source of, what is the main source we are getting glass? Glass is the main source of silica. Silica is one, SiO2. Silica exists in two forms, which are they? Crystalline and amorphous. What is the crystalline form of silica? It is quartz. Then what is the amorphous form of silica? It is glass. How we are getting this quartz? Quartz are getting by melting glass and cooling suddenly, that convert into quartz. So these two are the different form of silica. So this type of solid also there, pseudo solid. Then from the classification, first we have to pick up which type of solid in this chapter we have to study. Ionic solid or crystalline solid mainly we have to study. Crystalline solid again classified into different types. Which are they? Is ionic solid, covalent solid, is molecular solid, and metallic solid. Detailed way you studied in the chapter with examples. Okay. What are the different types of molecular solid you studied there? Is molecular solid again classified into polar, non-polar, and hydrogen bonded. Can you give an example of polar molecular crystal? Yes, the best example is ice, or we can take it solid ammonia. Their hydrogen bond will be there, that is polar or hydrogen bonded molecular crystal. Can you give an example for non-polar molecular crystal? Anyone example? Non-polar molecular crystal. Yes. Non-polar means there is no difference in electronegativity between the atoms. Both are same atom. For example, solid iodine or solid chlorine or solid hydrogen. Electron difference is not there. That type is non-polar molecular crystal. That example you must thorough. These are the introduction part you already studied well. Then from this different types of crystalline solid, we have to pick up what type of solid? Ionic solid. In ionic solid, when you are taking an ionic solid, first of all you have to learn it some common terms we used there in ionic solid. What are the common terms you studied there? The common terms we studied there in ionic solid are, one is unit cell, then second term you studied crystal lattice, and then you studied lattice point. All you know. Unit cell. What are unit cell? It is the basic unit of a crystalline solid in which the unit is repeated again and again there in the crystal lattice. That is unit cell. Now, most commonly the basic unit cell we considering as symbol cube. What is one by crystal lattice? Crystal lattice also a common term. Any one crystalline solid when you are arranging on a plane or any surface or wherever it is, so that is known as crystal lattice. It is a complicated structure there we are getting crystal lattice. Then lattice point. What is lattice point? The position of constant particle in crystal lattice is called lattice point. These are the three common terms we are using there in ionic crystals. Which are they? Yes, unit cell, crystal lattice, lattice point. Now we continued the topic with the lattice point. Based on lattice point, we can classify the crystals. What are the different types of crystals on the basis of their lattice point? Yes, they are primitive and non-primitive unit cell. What are primitive unit cell? Primitive is simply called symbol cube. There the constant particles are arranged only at the corners. Non-primitive means in addition to corners, the lattice points are present in other parts of the unit cell. That is called non-primitive unit cell. Which are the different non-primitive unit cell you studied? Yes, come on. You have to answer it. That is, first one you studied is body-centered cube, face-centered cube, end-centered cube. Then like that many are there. Diagonal-centered, alternate face-centered, different end-centered. Like that different types of unit cell are there. Among this, the most commonly we are getting the unit cell are symbol cubic, body-centered, face-centered. So this arrangement also we can represent in the 3D structure. Cubic lattice we can arrange body-centered, face-centered, and end-centered, diagonal-centered, edge-centered, like that. Okay, are you following now, all of you? See, I already mentioned when you are getting a class like this, you already studied the topic there in 12th standard. When you are attending that crash course, we have to elaborate a somewhat related topic also we have to learn it. Already the topic you learn it is thorough, then it is easy. So, before attending the class, you have to collect it, which are the chapters, tomorrow, which are the chapters they are conducting. So, you just thorough the topic and then attend the class, so it will become too easy. And the most important thing you have to do there is maximum questions you have to practice. So, through practice only we can learn it. Whatever it is the class you are attending, that only the basic idea or knowledge you are developing there, and that you have to apply there. Then only you can attend the examination in a proper way and you are getting the result there. So all of you have to practice. You have to refer a standard level textbook, reference book, and you have to practice maximum number of questions. How many questions you are practicing? That is the most important thing you are going for attending that entrance examination. Okay. Now, based on that lattice point, we divide that crystals Then the next thing we have to study there is, the next point what you learn it there, after the arrangement of constant particle, that is lattice point, then you have to study the different types of crystals and their dimensions. Dimensions means in crystal, their edge length is there and radius is there. All the crystalline solid we are connecting with the edge length and radius. So this relation you have to study. What is the relation between edge length and radius in the case of simple cube? Simple cube A is equal to 2R. Okay, simple cube, all the constant particle we are considering as a sphere. So for sphere you are directly arranging on the face, that is a simple cube. So in simple cube, this is the radius of the constant particle and edge length. So A is equal to 2R. Then in the case of, this is simple cube. Next one you studied face-centered cube, FCC. So the face center on constant particle will be there. Then next constant particles are corners. So here it is the edge length A and radius. So directly we are not getting the relation between A and R. So you have to draw the diagonal. You will be getting a right angle triangle ABC. From that you are getting AC is equal to root of AB square plus BC square. So AC distance you have to consider R, 2R and one more R. So totally 4R. So 4R is equal to root of A square plus A square. So 4R is equal to root 2A. So R is equal to root 2A by 4, or A is equal to 2 root 2R. So relation between A and R in FCC. Here in our cosmetic root 2 you have to multiply with both the side, you will be getting 2 root 2R. So direct this relation also you can use it. A is equal to 4R by root 2 or A is equal to 2 root 2R, both are same. Then come to next BCC, body centered cube. Body center, so the whole body you have to consider. So when you are considering the whole body, simple cube, constant particle at the corner and at the center. So here this distance is the diagonal distance. What is the diagonal distance of a cube? Edge length is A, then root 3A. So root 3A is equal to again R, 2R, R. So totally 4R. So A is equal to 4R by root 3. This is the relation between A and R in body centered cube, then face centered cube and simple cube. This relation you already studied. Okay, then. Next thing you have to study there is packing efficiency of constant particle there in crystal. Packing efficiency. We are calculating as a percentage packing efficiency of crystal. Packing efficiency is a simple term. Suppose you take an example. Suppose you are having 100 notebook or textbook that we have to pack it or we have to send it somewhere else. So this 100 textbook or notebook we have to arrange in a cardboard or somewhere else, where it is we are arranging that packet, you have to arrange it. So how to find out the packing efficiency in that cases? In that cases means there we have to pack 100 textbook. So you have to take the total volume of that textbook or notebook and then you note the volume of the cube. Then you are taking the ratio, you will be getting packing efficiency. Here also packing efficiency in the case of simple cube, body centered cube and face centered cube, you already studied number of atoms or number of particle contribution when they are taking part in any process or any changes. In the case of simple cube, what is the number of atoms per unit cell? What is the symbol you given there? Z. Number of atoms per unit cell in the case of simple cube is 1. Okay. In the case of body centered cube, 2. In the case of face centered cube, 4. Their calculation all of you clear now? Simple cube. How many? When you are considering a simple cube or any crystal, when you are considering, that crystal consists of lakhs of cubes. Each cube, when they take part in chemical reaction, that will act as how many particles that you have to note it. So in the case of simple cube, a cube is obtained by the formation of how many corners are there in a cube? 8 corners. So all the 8 are equally contributed. Then only we will be getting a cube. So the contribution of each particle is 8 into 1 by 8, that is equal to 1. Then in the case of body centered cube, 8 into 1 by 8 corner contribution plus body center 1, so it is 2. In the case of face centered cube, face centered also already corner particles are there. So the contribution is 8 into 1 by 8 plus how many faces are there? Face center 6 faces. Opposite faces act as a single one. So 6 into 1 by 2. 8 into 1 by 8 plus 6 into 1 by 2, that is equal to 4. So in the case of simple cube, their contribution, we are giving the symbol is Z. Z is equal to 1. In the case of body centered cube, Z is equal to 2. In the case of face centered cube, Z is equal to 4. This calculation also is clear. 8 into 1 by 8. All are equally contributed, all the corners. Here, 8 into 1 by 8 plus body center that individually it acts as. So, total is 2. Here, corner 8 into 1 by 8 contribution plus how many faces are there in a cube? 6 faces. Opposite faces act as single one. So 6 into 1 by 2. So it is 4. This is the way each unit cell act in chemical reaction or in any process. Now based on this one we can calculate the packing efficiency. Now I am taking the packing efficiency calculation I am doing with FCC. Other two we can practice. In the case of FCC, how we can calculate the percentage packing efficiency? Percentage packing efficiency is equal to total volume. What we are packing there? The constant particles. So total volume of particles, constant particles by where we are packing inside a cube. So volume of a cube. Percentage means into 100. So what is the total volume of particles? How many particles are there in FCC? 4 particles. So 4 into volume of a particle into 100. That 100 is given there by volume of a cube. What is in a cube? So 4 into volume of a particle. Each particle we are considering as a sphere. Atoms or ion, whatever it is spherically shaped. So 4 into what is the volume of a sphere? Each particle we are considering as a sphere. So volume of a sphere particle. What is volume of a sphere? 4 by 3 pi r cube by a cube into 100. Now for getting the value of packing efficiency, the radius for A we have to cancel it. So you know the relation between A and R in FCC. We already noted the relation between A and R in FCC. A is equal to 2 root 2 R. So you are getting 4 into 4 by 3 pi R cube. Instead of A, 2 root 2 R the whole cube into 100. Now the variable, the radius is cancelled. So remaining only digit that you can calculate, and finally you will be getting a constant value 44%. Directly you can by heart. No need to calculate. All of you have to by heart it. FCC 74. And what about BCC? In the case of BCC, only difference is instead of 4, how many particles will be there? 2 particles. And in the case of simple cube, instead of this number of particles, 1 will be there. So each having its own constant value. In the case of FCC, you are getting 74. And in the case of BCC, what is the value? Are you getting the value? In the case of BCC, it is 68. What about simple cube? Yes, 52.4, or directly you can write to 52 round figure. So these are constant value. You already learned it. The packing efficiency of constant particle there in crystals. Maximum packing efficiency FCC. It is clear because the number of particles is 4 there. So and then BCC and then simple cube. How many particles we are arranging? That is packing efficiency. Okay, are you following? The next, the arrangement of constant particle there in crystals. How the particles are arranged there in crystals. the arrangement of constant particles there in crystal we divided into three categories: one-dimensional packing, two-dimensional packing, and three-dimensional packing. One dimension, no need to discuss anything there, only one dimension, either horizontally or vertically we are packing particle there in the crystal, that is one-dimensional packing. Now two-dimensional packing. Two dimension means both the direction we are arranging the constant particle. Both the direction means we are arranging horizontally as well as vertically. So 2D packing we are studying now. In the 2D packing, two direction, that is constant particles. Suppose I am arranging in, now it is one direction. Which direction? Horizontally I arrange. Now vertically also I am packing. Horizontally as well as vertically. And finally we are getting, what shape we are getting? Yes, a square shape. So this first close packing we can call it as square close packing. Then second one more two-dimensional packing is there. That packing, first we have to draw the first layer, horizontal layer, and then the second layer we are placing in the diffraction of the first layer. So like that we can arrange the particles, two dimension, one more. So in the diffraction we are arranging the next layer. So from the figure itself, can you identify which packing is more efficient? Maximum number of space we can cover by using the second one. So the second one, when you are completing the plane based on the constant particle, what shape you are getting? Hexagon. So here finally we are getting a hexagonal shape, so it is called hexagonal close packing. Which is more efficient? Hexagonal close packing is more efficient than that of square close packing. As a result of this packing, there we are getting vacant spaces there in the crystal lattice, because all the constant particle we are considering as a sphere. When we are arranging sphere, any direction when you are arranging, the vacant spaces will be creating. That vacant space created there in the crystal lattice, here also vacant spaces are there. These vacant spaces you can call it as voids. Voids are the vacant space there in crystal lattice. And in the case of square close packing, when you are taking on center particle, now this center particle is directly contact with how many other particles? Yes, 4 other particles. And come to this arrangement, the one interior particle when you are considering, that it is directly contact with how many other particles? Okay, so when you are arranging constant particle there in the crystals, lot of vacant spaces will be creating, that is called voids. Then now just consider a constant particle, interior particle there in the crystal lattice. That interior particle is directly contact with how many other particle? Here in the square close packing, how many other particle? 4 are there. What about in the hexagonal close packing? The interior particle is directly, one of the interior particle directly contact with 6 other particles. So in a crystal lattice, any one particle is directly attached with how many other particles? That number of particles we can call it as the coordination number of the crystal. So in the case of square close packing, what is the coordination number? 4. Okay. In the case of hexagonal close packing, what is the coordination number? Okay, it is 6. These are regarding two-dimensional packing, which is more efficient hexagonal, because maximum void we can cover it. That is why hexagonal close packing is more efficient close packing compared to square close packing. Now go to the next arrangement is 3D packing. 3D, actually on a plane we can represent only 2 dimension. 3 dimension it is difficult to represent on plane. You already studied, I think in the classes when they explained that one, the 3D they showed there, you studied that one through that smart class or any other classes, that arrangement of 3D arrangement of constant particle there in the crystals. 3D means first of all we have to take the more efficient 2D packing. Which is the more efficient 2D packing? Hexagonal cross packing. In the hexagonal cross packing, we have to arrange the third layer. 2D, why we are selecting hexagonal? Because that is more efficient. Then arrange the third layer above this hexagonal cross packing. When hexagonal cross packing, when you are arranging, there you are getting two alignment of voids. Two alignment in the sense, see here, this is one void, this one void, this one void, this one void. These are lying on the same line. And at the next line, this one void, this one, this one. That in another layer. So, two alignment of void, there we are getting A and B. See, when you are next layer, when you are arranging, both the void we cannot cover it simultaneously. At a time we can cover it either A void or B void. So, I am placing on the 3D, it is difficult to show it. So, anyway, I am arranging like this. Like that we can arrange it. You just imagine, you already studied 3D packing. So there two alignment of void in the 2D and one of the alignment we can fill it. At a time we can fill it any one of the void. A void or B void that I labeled. Okay, when you are filling A void, see, just to see that void on the plane, three constant particles. When you are connecting the corners, a triangular shape will be there. And above one constant particle, that center, when you are connecting, this way you are getting. Actually, this center part is projected towards outside. So, in the first type of packing, A void when you are filling, and the new void created is which shape? It is tetrahedral shape. So, when you are filling A void, what type of void? New void you are getting? Tetrahedral void. So, at a time we can fill it either one void, A or B. Now, I am filling B void, next layer, next packing, next 3D. B void I am filling. That time, we will be getting the on the plane, three constant particles are there, 3 centers. And above also we are getting 3 centers. So, that time we are getting the void is octahedral void. So, you just try to understand that when the 3D we are arranging, we are getting two types of void, tetrahedral void and octahedral void. Now, you just see in the diagram, A void when you are filling, the first two are creating tetrahedral. Then only the central, this one creating octahedral. So, the relation between tetrahedral and octahedral voids are 2 tetrahedral make it 1 octahedral. That means the number of tetrahedral void formed is double of octahedral void. That is an important relation. Number of tetrahedral void formed is double of octahedral void. Okay, the relation, there are two types of void. Then 3D packing, two types of void, A and B we are filling. So, A, when you are filling A, the tetrahedral void, finally it will create a hexagonal close packed arrangement, and finally this will create a cubic close packed arrangement. Two types of arrangement there in 3D packing, HCP and CCP. Hexagonal cross packing and cubic cross packing. Hexagonal cross packing, when you are arranging, each third layer is similar to that of first layer. Study this one, that is known as AB packing. Why it is called AB packing? Why? Because each third layer is similar to that of first layer. Now, then CCP, it is ABC packing. It is also called the series. Why? Because each fourth layer is similar to that of first one. ABC, then A. Each fourth layer is similar to that of first one. That is the way we are getting two types of packing. Somewhat a complication is there for getting the idea. You don't worry, you just learn it that there are 3D packing. There are two types of 3D packing, which are the hexagonal cross packing and cubic cross packing. Hexagonal cross packing, in that packing, each third layer is similar to that of first layer. And in cubic cross packing, each fourth layer is similar to that of first layer. And after that you learn it, there are two types of oid in 3D packing. One is tetrahedral oid and the other is octahedral oid. And how they are related? The number of tetrahedral oid formed is double of octahedral oid. Is it clear now? Don't worry about the diagram and all. So crash examination you will be getting objective type of question. So you just thorough the content. What is the packing? What are the arrangement we are getting? And what is it? Okay, based on that one we can practice the questions. Now this relation is important because based on this relation we can find out the formula of the crystal and all, tetrahedral and octahedral. What is the relation there? Yes, number of octahedral oid is half of tetrahedral oid, or number of tetrahedral oid formed is double of octahedral oid. So these are the two types of 3D packing. And in 3D packing, when you are noting the coordination number, in the directly it is very difficult to identify the coordination number. Actually, when you are considering the first layer, the coordination number is 6. And in the first layer, above how many particles? 3. And same way below also. 3D means both the direction we are taking. So above 3, below 3. So total 6 plus 6, the coordination number in HCP and CCP arrangement, both will be 12. So are you getting the idea now? So 3D, only few things you try to understand. The 3D, what are the different types of 3D packing? Two packing, HCP and CCP. Both the case coordination number is 12. HCP and CCP, there will be creating two types of oid, which are the tetrahedral and octahedral. How they relate. These are the content you have to learn it. And another thing, the packing series, AB packing and ABC packing. These are the arrangement of constant particles there in the crystal lattice. 1 dimension, 2 dimension and 3 dimension. Then, in a crystalline solid, there are cation and anion, both will be there. So, we have to note in next content the ratio of that is radius ratio, cation to anion. Cation and anion, when you are considering which ion is smaller in size, cation is always smaller than that of anion, because cation formed by loss of electron, anion by gain of electron. So radius ratio. Based on this radius ratio, there also you have to by heart some content there. Radius ratio, when you are calculating the case of some crystalline solid, some values you are getting. Radius ratio, when you are calculating fractional values you are getting. Based on this range of this fractional value, we can identify the coordination number and the geometry of the crystal. Okay, so radius ratio, based on this related radius ratio value, we can identify one coordination number and then structural arrangement and then example for such a type of crystal. Suppose the radius ratio in the crystal, when you are calculating the radius ratio, the ratio will be coming in a range. Suppose the range is 0.155 to 0.255. Under this range, the coordination number will be 3. 255, 225. Then second one, the radius ratio is between 0.225 to 0.414 and 0.414 to 0.732 and 0.732 to 1. in this range, normally in crystals, radius ratio will be coming. Okay, 0.155 to 0.225. Then the coordination number is 3. Then it is trigonal planar. Example for such a crystal, one example is B2O3. Then the radius ratio is between 0.225 to 0.414. The coordination number will be 4. Then the structure is tetrahedral. Then 0.414 to 0.732. The coordination number will be 6. 6. What will be the geometry? And this one is, what is the coordination number? Normally we are getting 3, 4, 6 and then is 8. Here it is hexagonal cross packing and it is cubic cross packing. And tetrahedral geometry we are getting in the case of zinc sulfide is ZnS, and CuCl, CuBr also we can consider. HCP packing NaCl, cesium chloride CaCl, NaCl, NaBr, KCl, like that. Different alkali metal and alkaline earth metal alloy will be coming in this category. So this radius ratio, and based on that radius ratio we can identify the coordination number of the crystal. Coordination number means a particular constant particle is directly contact with how many other particles. HCP, or here we can write it as octahedral. This ACP. This radius ratio. This value, all the value you have to by heart it, and coordination number. So because in the question when you are giving a ratio of cation and anion and you have to calculate in this which range you are getting, from the option you can choose it what is the coordination number of the crystal. Okay. Are you getting the table now? Radius ratio, cation to anion. Because cation is small in size, anion is large in size. So that is why the values are always you are getting fractions only. More than one will not come. Okay, now these are the first part we have to study in this chapter. The main thing based on this first part we have to calculate. One is the starting part we study number of atoms or unit cell. The symbol we are using is Z. When you are getting the arrangement of atoms there in the particle, based on that one we can identify the formula of the ionic compound. And the second one we studied OIDs, 3-dimension and 2-dimension. Based on the OID formed also we can identify the formula of the compound. And the most important calculation or the dimension part therein, crystalline solid we have to calculate there is density of the crystal. Okay, density. Now the next one is density of the crystal. This is the calculation part we have to use the density. Normally you study lower class onwards, you study what is density. Density is equal to mass by volume. Density, we can use the symbol small letter d or rho. Mass of the crystal by volume. Mass by volume. Volume we know. Majority case cubic arrangement the volume is 1 a cube. Then what will be the mass of the crystal? Mass by volume. Mass. See, the crystal means it may be an element, a metallic element, or it is a compound like ionic compounds. Anyone maybe we can consider as a crystal. How to get the mass of, if it is an element, how to calculate the mass of an element? Mass of an element is equal to its atomic mass divided by Avogadro number. Then the total mass of element when you are getting is how many atoms are there? Total atoms into mass of a single atom by Avogadro number. That is the way you are getting mass. And some basic concept of chemistry. The first chapter you studied how to calculate the mass of an atom. Mass of an atom is equal to atomic mass divided by Avogadro number. But in the case of crystals, there is only There is not only a single atom, number of atoms are there. So, total number of atoms into mass of a single atom by Avogadro number, that is mass. So, what is the number of atoms per unit cell? That symbol we already given is Z. So, Z into atomic mass or molecular mass of the crystal divided by Avogadro number, Na. So, we are substituting in the density formula D is equal to Zm by A cube into Na. It is a common equation you all studied, and the examination also I think you got problems based on this equation also. Density is equal to Zm by A cube into Na. But here also you have to practice a number of questions, because based on this formula you will be getting the question for the calculation of density or what type of crystalline solid. What type of crystalline solid is there? If the question is what type of crystalline solid, which one you have to calculate there? Z. Z value you have to find out. Z is 1, it is simple cube. Z is 2, yes, body centered cube. Z is 4, yes, that way we can find out. Or they will be asking the molecular mass or mass of the crystal. Or they will be asking what is the edge length of the crystal. A we can find out. If you know A, then you can find out R also. What type of crystal is there? Then write the relation between A and R, then you will be getting a radius. Suppose in a question, the density, all they given, they are asking radius. So by using this equation, first you have to find out one A, edge length. Suppose if it is a face-centered cube, based on that edge length A, what you have to find out? Radius. A is equal to 1, 2 root 2 R. Clear now? Are you following? Yes. So this is an important equation. You already learned that you know D is equal to Zm by A cube into Na. Based on this one, number of numericals we can practice for the calculation of density. Z, M, A or R and Na. Na is a constant. No need to calculate. We know. We all know Na value. Okay, this is an important dimensional part there in crystalline solid. Then, next dimensional part we have to calculate based on void. Voids. What are the two types of voids we studied there in 3D packing? Yes, tetrahedral and octahedral. How they are related there in 3D packing? Yes, number of tetrahedral void formed will be the double of octahedral void. Now, based on this void, we can identify the formula of the crystal. How we can identify the formula of the crystal? In such questions, they are giving any one crystalline solid that may contain 2 atoms or 3 atoms or more than 3 also we can consider. Suppose if it is 2 atoms are there in the crystals, in the question they mentioning that one of the particles will create the crystal lattice. Crystal lattice means which one? HCP or CCP. One of the atom will create the crystal lattice and other will occupy any other part. That is the way you will be getting the question. Are you following? Based on voids, now we are studying based on voids how we can calculate the formula of the crystal. In such questions, first of all they are giving one of the constant particle will create the crystal lattice. Crystal lattice means if it is HCP or CCP arrangement, and other will, next atom will occupy any one part of this void. Then finally you have to find out what will be the formula of the crystal. When you take an example, suppose a crystalline solid AB. AB is a crystalline solid. In this, A create CCP lattice or HCP lattice. Then B occupy 2/3 of tetrahedral voids. Or anyway, this relation, anyway they can give it. Instead of 2/3, any fraction we can take it. Instead of tetrahedral, octahedral or half of tetrahedral or half of octahedral, like that anyway they will be giving. Now, in such questions, you have to consider that which one created the crystal lattice, which atom, which particle is creating the crystal lattice, HCP or CCP, that number you have to assume a variable. Suppose here A create the CCP lattice. So, the number of atoms of E. Which one is creating the crystal lattice? That number of atoms you have to assume one variable X, we don't know. Which one creating the crystal lattice? That number of atom will be equal to the number of octahedral oid. That is the main concept there. Which one creating the crystal lattice? That number becomes equal to number of octahedral oid. So here number of octahedral oid. Number of octahedral oids is equal to X. Then what is the number of tetrahedral oids? Number of tetrahedral oids is equal to 2x. That is the relation we studied. Now, what is the number of atoms of B? Number of atoms of B is equal to 2 by 3 of tetrahedral oids. 2x into 2 by 3. That is 4x by 3. Now we are now taking the relation A, how many atoms? X. B, how many atoms? 4x by 3. So avoiding fractions, can multiply with 3. So the formula you are getting is A3, B4. That is the formula of the crystal. Like that variety of questions you will be getting. Are you following now? Is it clear all of you? In such a question, which constant particle create the crystal lattice, its number becomes equal to number of octahedral oid. That is the concept. Then you know how many tetrahedral oids are there. Some problem, no need of this tetrahedral oid because second atom may be half of octahedral oid, same way they give it. So that time you have to write B atom is equal to X by 2. Anyway, they will be asking the questions. Is it clear now? Only one thing you remind there for calculation this one. Which a constant particle create the crystal lattice, that number becomes equal to number of octahedral oid. Okay, these are the dimensional part of this chapter. Then go to the next second part. There is studied. So some theoretical part is there. Directly you can collect it or read it from the textbook. That is imperfection in solid. Okay, defect in crystalline solid. Defect of crystalline solid. I just go through that content. The defect is mainly classified into how many types of defect are there? Yes, 2 types. Which are they? Line defect and point defect. But in your syllabus, they included only which type of defect? Point defect. What are the different types of point defect you studied? The point defects are classified into, next is defects in crystals. It is classified into line defect to point defect. Here it is included point defect. Point defect again classified into 3 categories. Which are what are the different types of point defect? One is stoichiometric defect. Stoichiometric. Then non-stoichiometric. And finally impurity defect. These are the different types of defect in crystals. Then come to stoichiometric. From the word it is clear. The first chapter you studied some basic concept of chemistry, stoichiometry. It is used for the correlating the number of moles or atom masses or volume of different atoms that involved in a chemical reaction. That variables are stoichiometry. Stoichiometry defect means, see suppose in a crystalline solid there are 100 cation and 100 anion are there. Whatever it is the process you are conducting, all the time all the ions are occupying the correct positions, then the crystal is a perfect crystal, there is no defect. But any circumstances, any one of the ion missing or shifting or any changes will be there in the ion, that time defect will be created. But after the defect also, the cation and anion, they are equalizing their valency or charges, then the defect is said to be stoichiometric defect. Suppose I am having on crystal 100 positive ion and 100 negative ions are there. Under any circumstances, 2 positive ion is missing from the crystal lattice or moving out, going out. Same time, 2 negative charges also going out. So remaining how many positive? 98 positive. How many negative? 98 negative. That means after the defect also the crystal is maintaining their stoichiometry. Such defects are called stoichiometric defect. And after the defect also it is not maintaining the stoichiometry. It is called non-stoichiometric defect. And then finally impurity defect. From the word itself it is clear. Some impurities are entering into the crystal lattice and existing there. So that will create impurity defect. Then you study stoichiometric defect. What are the different types of stoichiometric defect you studied? Yes, come on. Stoichiometric defect. One is vacancy defect. Okay. Then second one, interstitial defect. Yes, vacancy defect. That will create whether it is an ionic crystals or normally that vacancy defect we are absorbing there in atoms. Okay, metallic state we will be getting vacancy defect. Vacancy means the position is vacant, ions are missing or particles are missing. That is vacancy defect. Interstitial defect, that means interstitial space are also called void or interstitial site. Ions or the particles are shifting from its original site to interstitial site. Vacant space they are occupying. That is called interstitial defect. And in addition to in stoichiometry again branches. Vacancy, interstitial, and then in addition to these two more stoichiometric defects are there in ionic crystals. Which are they? That you studied in detailed way there. Schottky defect and Frenkel defect. Actually, the first two, vacancy and interstitial, normally we are absorbing there in non-ionic crystals, but Frenkel defect and Schottky defect we are absorbing there in ionic crystals. That is the main difference. Schottky defect, you know. What is Schottky defect? It is a missing of equal number of cation and anion from the crystal lattice. And there you have to note the point is, Schottky defect mainly or most commonly we can absorb there in alkali metal halide. Alkali metal halide means anion and cation size are almost same. In such cases, we can absorb Schottky defect. Anion and cation possess almost same size. And moreover, the coordination number of such ionic crystals are normally high coordination. High coordination showing what type of defect? Schottky defect. So they are missing of equal number of cation and anion. That means that space is vacant. So mass is reduced. So what happened to density? Density is equal to mass by volume. Okay. So the density will decrease as a result of which defect? Schottky defect. Why density is decreasing? Because particles are missing from the crystal lattice. Now come to Frenkel defect. What is Frenkel defect? Okay. So any one constant particle is shifting from its original position to interstitial space or void. So their own condition will be there. All the case it is not possible because that ion tend to occupy the interstitial site. So that size it can accommodate that ion, then only it will happen there. Okay. So that is Frenkel defect. Such a defect we can normally absorb there in crystalline solid with cation and anion. That sizes differ. They differ in their size and their coordination number is normally low coordination. For example, silver halide, AgCl, AgBr and zinc sulfur, ZnS will show Frenkel defect. But as a result of that Frenkel defect, what happened to density of the crystal? Any change in their density? No, the density will not change because particles are not missing from the crystal lattice. They will be shifting from one position to another position only. So there is no change in density as a result of which defect? Frenkel defect. Then in the case of the crystal AgBr, in the case of AgBr is showing both the defect, Schottky defect and Frenkel defect. Both is shown by AgBr. So that also you try to understand why AGBR is showing both the defect. So both the condition it is satisfying. What is the condition? The cation and anion size is almost same. Moreover, cation can occupy the interstitial site. That is why it show both the defect. Are you getting the idea now? Ag plus and Br minus, almost the same size. Moreover, cation. When you are comparing cation and anion, which is small in size, cation. So normally cation will be shifting from the original site to interstitial site, because easy to occupy the interstitial site is cation. So cation will shift it to the original position to interstitial position. So that is the reason AGBR is among the following crystal, which one is showing both Schottky and fungal defect. So we can write it, we can choose it, silver halide. These are stoichiometry defect. Only theoretical part directly you can learn it. Then come to non-stoichiometry defect. There, after the defect, the crystal is not maintaining their stoichiometry. The non-stoichiometry defect, mainly how many types we studied non-stoichiometry defect? There are 3 types. Non-stoichiometric. There are 3 branches, you can draw it. First one is metal excess defect. Metal excess defect due to what? Is anion vacancy. Then second one, same metal excess defect due to extra cation. And last one, metal deficiency defect. These are the 3 types. So what type of defect? Non-stoichiometry defect. Metal excess defect due to anion vacancy. 1, 2, 3. Then first one, when you are considering metal excess defect due to anion vacancy, what type of crystal are shown by the defect? Yes, alkali metal halide. Sodium chloride, potassium chloride, such chloride will show metal excess defect due to anion vacancy. What we have to do therefore getting the defect? The alkali metal halide we have to heat it with the corresponding vapors of alkali metal. Then anion from the crystal lattice leave its original site and move towards the surface. And the vacancies of the anions are occupied by 1 electrons. Clear? We studied the detailed way in that metal excess defect due to anion vacancy. Anion leave the crystal lattice and move towards the surface. And the vacancies are filled by 1 electrons. Okay. So such centers are called F center. From the Greek word Farbane center, that is F center. Farbane, F, the meaning of that F is color center. So what are F center? F centers are anion vacancies are trapped by electrons. Anion vacancies are trapped by electrons. Such centers are called F center. As a result of F center, the conductivity of the crystal will increase, and moreover, crystal will show characteristic color when we are heating due to the excitation of this electron. F center, it is important there. Metal excess defect due to anion vacancy. So in that part you study well what are F center, then what are the important characteristics of F center. As a result of F center, conductivity will increase and crystal will show characteristic color. Then second one, metal excess defect due to extra cation. That we can observe there in zinc oxide. We studied zinc oxide when we are heating, it loses 2 electron and changes to 1 Zn2 plus ion. This Zn2 plus ion, when we are heating a crystal of Zno, one side we are heating. From this end, this will happen. And this Zn2 plus ion will move towards other side and occupy the crystal lattice. So in that side, their extra cation will be there. And electrical neutrality is maintained by occupying the nearest crystal lattice by this 2 electron. That is the reason zinc oxide on heating, we can observe some yellow color there. Zinc oxide appears yellow in color. The reason behind it is non-stoichiometry defect due to extra cation. Metal excess defect due to extra cation. That is why zinc oxide is appearing yellow in color. That is why we call it as zinc oxide as fool's gold. Zinc oxide due to this defect. non-stoichiometry defect. Okay, then finally metal deficiency defect, third one. Third non-stoichiometry defect is metal deficiency of metal. Such a defect we can observe there in transition elements. We studied on chapter there 12 standard transition elements. One of the characteristic property of transition elements is they show variable oxidation state. Suppose I am having a transition metal compound is iron oxide, ferrous oxide, FeO. What is the valence of iron in FeO? Yes, +2. So all the crystal lattice are occupied by Fe2 plus ion and O2 minus ion. And you studied iron 2 oxide state +2 and +3. Among these two, which is more stable? +3. So when you are getting energy from Fe2 plus is automatically changes to 1 Fe3 plus. Okay. So during the changes, 3 Fe2 plus ion is converted into 2 Fe3 plus ion. So during this conversion, 3 Fe2 plus converted into 2 Fe3 plus. Correct? No? So here 3 crystal sites are there. As a result of this change, 2 crystal sites only occupied. Remaining only is 1 vacant. That is metal deficiency defect. Okay, metal deficiency defect normally observed in what type of compound? Transition metal compound. Why? Because they show variable oxidation state. Now, see, based on this metal deficiency defect also, you will be getting some numericals. Suppose iron oxide or nickel oxide, NiO. NiO, the composition they given is 0.94 and 1% composition. Nickel oxide is existing like this. Ni 0.94 and oxygen 1. Okay. Now, in this they are asking how many fractions of nickel exist in Ni2 plus or Ni3 plus. How many fractions of nickel exist in 2 plus and 3 plus. Okay. How we can calculate this one? So actually here the percentage composition when you are taking is nickel is 94% and oxygen is 100%. Why nickel only 94? Because nickel can exist in 2 oxide state +3 and +4. Now, how we can calculate the fraction of nickel there in the crystal? +2 and +3 fractions. Suppose you just assume Ni2 plus this nickel oxide that is constitute of Ni2 plus and Ni3 plus with oxygen. That is the composition. Now I am just assuming Ni2 plus is X. So Ni3 plus, how many will be there? Total 94. So 94 minus X is Ni3 plus. Okay, then see in any crystal, any ionic crystal, when you are taking the oxidation state or charge of the total atoms, it will be 0. That is the way in the redox reaction we are calculating the oxidation state of each element. So when you are taking the total oxidation state, sum of the total oxidation state is always 0. So Na2 plus, what is the total oxidation state? 2 into X plus 3 into 94 minus X. Then oxygen minus 2, so 2 into 100. Total oxidation state is equal to 0. Are you getting this calculation step now? Nickel 2 plus oxidation state 2 into total nickel atom is X. Remaining is Na3 plus 94 minus X, that into 3 minus 2 oxygen oxidation state. Oxygen is 100% is 0. So this you will be getting the value of X. 2X plus 200. So X you are getting is 82. 82 means from this 94% nickel is in 82. So Ni3 plus is 94 minus 82. You will be getting Na3 plus. Is it? Suppose the question is they will be asking how many fractions are there Na2 plus. Now 94. Total is 94. 94 contains only 182. How much in 100? That is the fraction of Na2 plus percent. Directly they are asking only Na2 plus and Na3 plus X and then 94 minus X you have to calculate. They are asking the fractions. This way you can find out the fractions. This way you can create number of questions any metal because majority transition elements are showing one variable oxidation state. The concept only is sum of the oxidation state is 0. Clear now? Okay, so now note the stoichiometry defect and the non-stoichiometry defect. The last defect, the third one is which defect? Impurity defect. And before that, this type of calculation is important. Readily you have to calculate. The concept of this calculation is the total oxidation state is always 0. Now, the third type of defect is what? Impurity defect. The defect is stoichiometric, non-stoichiometric, and then impurity. Impurity defect from the word itself, it is clear. In a crystal lattice, one impurity will be entering into the crystal lattice. Suppose we are having one crystal sodium chloride. Sodium chloride, that crystal contain Na plus ion and Cl minus ion. They are arranged in regular order. In that crystal, another impurity like a bivalent, divalent metal is entering. For example, Cd2 plus or Sr2 plus will be entering. Sr2 plus, Sr having 2 valence. The crystal already existing is having only 1 valence. So, 2 Na plus will be replaced with this divalent metal. So, divalent metal will occupy one of the position of Na plus and the other position will be vacant also. So, that type of defect is known as impurity defect. So, these all are theoretical part only, you already learned it. Okay, these are the defect of crystal. Next, we have to study the electrical properties of crystals. Electrical property and magnetic property. That also fully theoretical part. Electrical property on the basis of conductivity, the substances are classified into how many category? Yes, 3 category. Which are they? They are conductors, insulators and semiconductors. Their conductivity range also you know. Am I correct? Yes. Then here we have to discuss with the semiconductors. In the periodic table, which group elements semiconductors normally exist in which group? Yes, they are existing in 14th group. 14th group of the members are carbon, silicon, germanium, tin and lead. Silicon and germanium, most commonly we are using as semiconductor. They having the conductivity in between that of pure conductor and an insulate. Slight conductivity only there. But in the case of semiconductors, we can increase the conductivity of semiconductor by which process? Yes, doping. Clearly you studied there in physics also. Doping and all is a direct, fully theoretical concept. Directly you can study doping. We can done with the other group element. Which are the group we are using most commonly? Yes, 13th group or 15th group. When we are doping with the 15th group, what type of semiconductor we are getting? 15th group N-type. Yes, 13th group P-type. So the group members you must know, then only you can answer it. When you are doping with this element, what type of semiconductor you are getting? That type of question will be there. I am not discussing more. You all are thorough with that content. In chemistry and physics, we studied N-type semiconductor, P-type semiconductor and their applications. That is important. All the point you have to learn it thoroughly. Then P-type and N-type semiconductor. Then the conductivity of crystals we can explain on the basis of band theory. Band theory. Based on band theory also, we can explain what conductivity of semiconductor. Band means they are what? Energy levels. Band means energy level. When you are taking a crystal, in a crystalline metal when you are taking, the valence shell that may contain filled orbital and vacant orbital. Both will be there. Some orbitals are completely filled or partially filled and other are vacant orbital. The orbital with electron are called valence band and the vacant orbital present in the outermost shell are called conduction band. There are 2 bands there in each crystal. Which are they? Valence band and conduction band. Suppose in a crystal, this one I marked as valence band, this one is conduction band. These are orbital with electron, these are orbital without electron. These two are having without energy gap, there is no energy gap between these two orbitals or these two bands, then they are called conductors. So in conductors, there is no energy gap between valence band and conduction band. So from the valence band, electron will easily move to which band? Conduction band. So this is a symbolic representation of what? Conductors. So how can we represent there in semiconductors and insulators? In semiconductors, there is a small gap between conduction band and valence band. And come to insulator. When you are considering an insulator, there is large energy gap between valence band and conduction band. This is insulator. This energy gap we can call it as forbidden zone. Forbidden. The energy gap between conduction band and valence band in insulator. This is semiconductor and this is conductor. This is based on band theory, we can explain different types of conductivity. That is conductor, insulator and semiconductor. Clear now? Are you following? Now next go to the magnetic properties of crystals. How in crystals magnetic field is creating there, or in an atom how the magnetic field is created due to the movement of electron with respect to nucleus and with respect to its own axis. As a result, one magnetic field will be creating there in the crystal lattice. Magnetic field we can calculate in terms of Bohr magnetone, mu, that you studied there in physics also. Bohr magnetone, magnetic moment. So the magnetic, based on the creation of magnetic moment, the crystals we can classify into different types of crystals are there. Which are the different types of crystals studied? Yes. Paramagnetic, diamagnetic, ferromagnetic, antiferromagnetic and ferrimagnetic. These are the different types. All the types, examples with explanation you have to by heart. Example, it is very important. When you are getting a crystal, what type of magnetic property that will show, that you have to identify readily when you are getting an example. Paramagnetism, it arises due to unpaired electron. Diamagnetism, there is paired electron. Water is a diamagnetic molecule because there is no unpaired electron. You studied MO configuration 11th standard. Based on that MO configuration, you can identify whether it is paramagnetic or diamagnetic. Up to 20 electrons, you can arrange MO configuration. Based on that one also, you can identify paramagnetism and diamagnetism. Then, next one is ferromagnetism. Ferromagnetism means the magnetic properties are related to the electron, valence shell electron. Electron, that alignment will be there. Alignment all are in unidirectional. That regions we are calling are domains. All the domains, that is the field that is creating magnetism, that is domains. In domains all are unidirectional, then it is called ferromagnetic substance. Then antiferromagnetism, their domains are in opposite direction. So the magnetism created due to the presence of the end vibration, inside of magnetism only creating, end particles only will creating magnetic moment, antiferromagnetism. The last is ferrimagnetism. Ferrimagnetism is created due to the domains are parallel and anti-parallel. So all the cases, examples also you have to note it. These are the main content you have to study there in solid state. The last all the part I explained readily because it was all our theoretical part. You already learn it, or directly you can learn it. Direct reading is enough for learning that content. That is why I readily explained last the content, electrical property and magnetic property. Okay. Now we have to discuss some questions based on the content. So you all are ready to write some questions now. So you have to write some questions and we have to analyze one by one. So first question. Question number 1 is, which of the following is a molecular crystal? It's a simple question. In the beginning, we classify the crystals into or solid into two types of crystalline solid and molecular crystalline solid and amorphous solid. So the crystalline solid we taken different types of crystalline solid, then ionic, covalent, metallic and molecular. The options given are silicon carbide. What type of crystal is silicon? First option is silicon carbide. What type of crystal is a covalent? Then sodium bromide. What type of crystal? Ionic. Then third one graphite. What type of crystal? Covalent. Then fourth one is ice. Ice is a molecular crystal. So the answer is ice, fourth one. So the first question, which of the following is a molecular crystal? Options: silicon carbide, sodium bromide, graphite, ice. Answer is ice. Are you completed? Yes. Second question. The number of atoms per unit cell in a simple cube, face-centered cube and body-centered cube are respectively. Number of atoms per unit cell. Number of atoms per unit cell of simple cube. First they given simple cube. Second face-centered cube, FCC, and then body-centered cube. What is the number of atoms from the options? Many options are given. Options 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 1, 4. So what is the correct option there? Simple cube, what is the number of atoms per unit cell? 8 into 1 by 8 1. Face-centered cube, 8 into 1 by 8 plus faces 6 into 1 by 2. So it is 4. BCC 1. Sorry, 2. 1 plus 8. 8 into 1 by 8 plus 1. So the answer is 1, 4, 2. Second option is the correct option. Then third question. Sodium metal crystallizes as body-centered cube. Sodium metal crystallizes as body-centered cube. Body-centered cube with cell edge 4.29 Armstrong. With the cell edge length of the cell 4.29 Armstrong. What is the radius of the sodium metal? What will be its radius? Okay, edge length is given. Sodium metal crystallizes in what arrangement? Body-centered cubic arrangement. So what is the relation between A and R in BCC? A is equal to 4R by root 3. So by using this equation you can find out R, radius of the unit cell. What is the value of root 3? Yes, 1.73. So in the third questions, the options given are 1.86 into 10 to the power minus 8 centimeter. Question number 3, first option. Second option, 2.37 into 10 to the power minus 7 centimeter. Third option, 3.82 into 10 to the power minus 8 centimeter. And fourth option, 9.31 into 10 to the power minus 7 centimeter. So by using that equation, root 3 into 4. What is the edge length? 4.29 by 4. R you have to find out. Root 3a by 4. Root 3, 1.73 you have to substitute. So you are getting in Armstrong. But all the values you are getting in centimeter. So finally, that Armstrong you have to convert into centimeter. How we can convert Armstrong to centimeter? Into 10 to the power minus 8. So you are getting 1.86 into 10 to the power minus 8 centimeter. Are you getting? Are you following? Shall I go to next question? Yes, next question. A face-centered arrangement has A and B atoms. A face-centered arrangement has A and B atoms. A atoms are at the corners of the unit cell. A atoms are at the corners of the unit cell and B atoms are at the face centers. One of the A atom is missing from one corner in the unit cell. One of the A atom is missing from one corner in the unit cell. The formula of the compound is repeating the question. A face-centered arrangement has A and B atoms. A atoms are at the corners and B atoms are at the face centers. The last sentence is one of the A atom is missing from one corner in the unit cell. Then the formula of the crystal is A are at the corners. So what is the contribution of A? 8 into 1 by 8. But the last sentence, the given sentence is 1 A is missing from the crystal lattice. So what is the contribution of A? 7 into 1 by 8. B atoms are present at the face center. So 6 into 1 by 2 is equal to 3. So A is 7 by 8, B is 3. Clear now? Here on last sentence the given is A atom, one of the A atom is missing from the crystal lattice. So 8 of constant particles are not there, 7 only there. But corners all are there, then only cube will exist. So 7 into 1 by 8. So we are getting the answer A, avoid that fraction, A7, B24. So many options are given. A7, B8, second option. A24, B7, third one A7, B24, fourth option A2, B3. So the third option is the correct option. All are completed. Then question number 5. Total volume of atoms present in a face-centered cubic unit cell of a metal is. Total volume of atoms present in a face-centered cubic unit cell is. Total volume of atoms present in a face-centered cubic unit cell. The options given are, one is 20 by 3 pi r cube, second one 24 by 3 pi r cube, third one 16 by 3 pi r cube, fourth one 12 by 3 pi r cube. Total volume of atoms. How we can calculate the total volume of atoms? Volume we can apply by using density formula, but the density is not given. So the packing efficiency formula we can apply. So the answer you are getting, fifth one you are getting, the answer is 4 by FCC means each constant particle we are considering as a sphere. What is the volume of a sphere? 4 by 3 pi r cube. Number of atoms per unit cell is how much FCC? 4. So the total volume will be 4 into 4 by 3 pi r cube. In the question they given the arrangement is FCC. FCC, what is the number of atoms per unit cell? 4. So 4 into each constant particle volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube. So the answer is third option, 16 by 3 pi r cube. Okay, then question number 6. The edge length of body-centered cube is 400 pm. Picometer. Edge length of of a body-centered cube is 400 pm. Its body diagonal would be, diagonal length they are asking. The options are 1. 693 pm, second one 600 pm, and third one 593 pm, and fourth one 626 pm picometer. So what is the diagonal length of a body centered cube? Diagonal length of cube is root 3a. So root 3a is given. From that you have to find out a. So the value of root 3 is 1.73. So 1.73 into 400. So the answer you are getting is 693 picometer. Then next question. Copper metal has FCC structure with the unit cell length is 0.361 nanometer. 0.361 nanometer. Copper metal has FCC structure with a unit cell length. Unit cell length is 0.361 nanometer. Next sentence, picturing diagram. Picturing copper ions in contact along the phase diagonal. The apparent radius of copper ion is. Picturing copper ion in contact along the phase diagonal. Copper ion is contact along phase diagonal. Full stop. The apparent radius of copper ion is. The apparent radius of copper ion is. So the options given are 1.28 nanometer, 1.42 nanometer, 0.192 nanometer, and 0.128 nanometer. FCC structure. What is the relation between FCC edge length and radius? A is equal to 2 root 2 r. A is equal to 2 root 2 r. Same relation here also we can use. So copper metal has FCC structure with a unit edge length is 0.361 nanometer. Picturing copper ion is in contact along the phase diagonal. Phase diagonal. In a phase, the constant, one of the constant particle is at the center. So the diagonal distances. So the relation is A is equal to 2 root 2 r. Or R is equal to root 2a by 4. That also correct. R is equal to root 2a by 4. So by 0.361 you have to substitute there and you have to find out the answer. What is the value of root 2? Root 2 is 1.414. Root 2 is 1.414. So when you are substituting, you will be getting the answer there, and the answer is 0.1276, nearly 128 nanometer. Is it clear now? Are you getting? Next question, actually, I mentioned on question is based on the dimension of unit cell. See, in your textbook also on table column is there, 7 crystal system. Totally based on the dimension, total 7 crystals are there. Okay. In the case of simple cube, what is the dimension? 3 edges A, B, C are same, and 3 angles alpha is equal to, beta is equal to, gamma is equal to 90 degrees. This for simple cube. And any one dimension will be changing, then the structure of simple cube will change. So any one dimension, total how many dimensions are there? 6. So the changing this 6 dimension and this one, total how many? 7 crystals are there. That is called 7 crystal system. So in the table column, you have to by heart all the 7 crystal system name and their example. Dimension all are given. Actually, the next question is based on this dimension. What type is there? Whether it is monoclinic, triclinic, rhombic, tetragonal like that, or simple cube like that. The dimension will be giving. You have to find out. So number of questions, 7 questions like that you can prepare. Example also you have to study. Okay, that table column you have to by heart it. So based on the lattice point also, lattice point we noted symbol cube primitive, then body centered, face centered, end centered. Like that, total how many crystal lattices are there? 14 crystal lattices are there. They are together called Bravais lattices. How many are there? 14 crystal lattices are there. Based on the dimension, how many units are there? 7 many types of units? 7. The starting is this one. All the dimensions same we are considering. Any one changing, there also we are getting remaining 6. So total 7 unit cells are there. So the next question, for body centered cubic arrangement, the value radius ratio is, for body centered cubic arrangement, BCC arrangement, for body centered cubic arrangement, radius ratio, cation anion ratio, which will be coming among the given values. First one, 0.732 to 1. We already noted this table column there, 225 to 0.414. Third one, 0.001 to 0.225. Fourth one, 0.414 to 0.732. For BCC, what is the range will be coming? Point cubic cross packing only, 0.732 to 1. Body centered cubic arrangement. Then, are you getting now? Next question. In which of the following crystal alternate tetrahedral ovoids are occupied? In which of the following crystal? In which of the following crystal alternate tetrahedral ovoids are occupied? The crystal given are, first one, sodium chloride, NaCl, and second one, zinc sulfide, ZNS, and calcium fluoride, CaF2, and then Na2. Crystal alternate tetrahedral ovoids are occupied. Alternate tetrahedral ovoids are occupied in zinc sulfide. Actually, this each having its own crystal structure. Sodium chloride, there sodium ion and Na plus ion and Cl minus ions are there. Sodium ion and chloride ion. Chloride ion is occupying at the corners and face center. Na plus ion is occupying edge center and body center. NaCl. Edge center. How many edges are there in a cube? 12. So contribution 12 into 1 by 4. 3-dimensional arrangement, one cube is contact with the other 3 cubes. So total 4 plus body center 1. So 12 into 1 by 4. It will become 3. 3 plus 1. So you are getting number of atoms or unit cellular sodium is 4, and here corner 8 into 1 by 8 plus face center 6 into 1 by 2, that also 4. So each unit cell contain 4 sodium ion and 4 chloride ion in NaCl. Same way in the zinc sulfide, that is the tetrahedral arrangement, the particle, the crystal alternate tetrahedral ovoids are occupied. So each crystal is having its own arrangement will be there. Sodium chloride, this arrangement is also called rock salt structure. Rock salt arrangement will be there in sodium chloride. Like that you studied there sodium chloride, zinc sulfide, calcium fluoride, fluorite structure and sodium oxide. All the structure are there in the topic. Syllabus it is included. Are you getting now? So next question. A metal has FCC lattice. A metal has FCC lattice. The edge length of the unit cell is 404 pm, 404 picometer. The density of the metal is 2.72. Density of the metal is 2.72. The molar mass of the metal is, a metal has FCC lattice, edge length of the metal is 404 picometer. Edge length is 404 and the density of the metal is 2.72 gram per centimeter cube. The molar mass of the metal is, molar mass of the metal. The options given are 20 gram per mole, 27 gram per mole, 30 gram per mole, 37 gram per mole. Okay, so the direct question, the formula you know, D is equal to, density is equal to Zm by A cube into Na. So FCC Z is equal to 4, density given in gram per centimeter cube. Then M we have to find out, M we have to calculate, A is given, picometer, thus that we have to convert into centimeter, 10 to the power minus 10 and then Na. So you will be getting the value of M. So you can calculate, direct question. Only things you have to remind, picometer convert into centimeter also here, because all must be in the same unit. You can substitute and you calculate. The value you are getting is 27 gram per mole is the correct answer. Then next question, how many unit cells are present in a cube shaped ideal crystal of sodium chloride? How many unit cells are present in a cube shaped ideal crystal of sodium chloride of mass 1 gram. Sodium chloride, ideal crystal of sodium chloride of mass 1 gram. How many unit cells are there in 1 gram sodium chloride? Like that, any crystal we can take it. This type of question we can create. And the options given are, one is 1.57 into 10 to the power 21, 2, 25.7 into 10 to the power 21, 3, 5.14 into 10 to the power 21, and 4, 3.57 into 10 to the power 21. How many unit cells are there? In a cube shaped ideal crystal of sodium chloride of mass 1 gram. So how we can calculate mass of 1 unit cell? Actually mass we can calculate here. Mass of one any element, 118 elements you know. In the case of mass of a single atom, you know mass of an atom divided by single atom mass is equal to its atomic mass divided by Avogadro number. Here the sodium chloride is here. What is the mass of 1 unit cell? Mass of 1 unit cell, 1 molecule in the sense unit cell. Mass of 1 molecule is equal to is mass divided by what? Avogadro number. So here the mass given is sodium chloride, and atoms you are adding together, you will get a molecular mass. Molecular mass of NaCl. You can find out molecular mass. Sodium is 23 and chlorine is chlorine atomic mass is adding together, you will be getting 58.5 sodium chloride molecular mass. So from that, the mass of 1 unit cell you are getting. Here what is the total mass? 1 gram. So 1 gram will contain, total 1 gram we are having. That contain how many unit cell will be there? 1 unit cell mass you are getting. Okay, atomic mass divided by or molecular mass of sodium chloride by Avogadro number. Okay, that is a mass of 1 unit cell. How many such unit cells are there in 1 gram? So that divided by that mass 1 gram divided by mass of 1 unit cell. 1 by this value. Are you getting now? Here they are asking how many unit cells are there in 1 gram of sodium chloride. So you find out the mass of a single unit cell. How to calculate the mass? The atomic mass or molecular mass divided by Avogadro number. That is the mass of 1 unit cell. How many such unit cell? How many are there in 1 gram? So the 1 gram divided by mass of a single unit cell. So the options, the correct options you are calculate, then you will be getting the answer is 2.57 into 10 to the power 21. 2.57 into 10 to the power 21 is the answer. So the calculation part is clear now. First you have to find out the mass of a single unit cell. And then how many unit cells are there in 1 gram? So 1 divided by that single unit cell mass. Then question number 13. Next question. The cubic unit cell of a metal. The cubic unit cell of a metal. Cubic unit cell of a metal with a molar mass 63.55 gram per centimeter cube. 63.55 gram per centimeter. Sorry, gram per mole. Molar mass is expressed in gram per mole. Has an edge length of 362 pm. Has an edge length of 362 pm. If its density is 8.92 gram per centimeter cube. Density 8.92 gram per centimeter cube. The type of unit cell is a crystalline unit cell, molar mass 63.5 gram per mole, has an edge length of 362 picometer. The density of the crystal is 8.92. What is the molar mass? Direct formula D is equal to Zm by A cube into Na. From that, what you have to find? M. All are given. Here also picometer will be there, that you have to convert into centimeter. Then you will be getting the molar mass is given. What you have to find out? Z, not M. I marked them Z. Z means type of crystal. M is given. M is this value. Z you have to find out. Z value, if it is Z is equal to 1, you are getting. So what is the answer? Symbol cube. Z is equal to 2, it is body centered cube. Z is equal to 4, it is face centered cube. So find out the value of Z. So in this case, you are getting the value of Z is 4. So the options given are 1, body centered, face centered, end centered, symbol cube. So you are getting Z value 4. So the answer is face centered. Then next question. The anion A form HCP packing. The anion A form HCP packing and cation C occupy 2/3 of octahedral oid. The simplest formula of the compound is anion A form HCP packing. Cation C occupy 2/3 of octahedral holes. The simplest formula of the compound is. Find out. So relation between tetrahedral and octahedral. Here only octahedral is given. We can find out. So here which one is forming the crystal lattice? A form the crystal lattice. So the number of atoms of A are to X. Assume X. That is the number of octahedral oid is equal to X. Here tetrahedral oid no need to consider because it is not mentioned. And what is the number of C atoms? C are occupying 2/3 of octahedral oid. That is X into 2/3. A is X, C is X into 2/3. So what is the answer you are getting? Yes, answer is C2A3. Clear now? The relation between the octahedral oid, which one creating the crystal lattice, that will be equal to number of octahedral oid. Okay, next question. A solid is formed with three types of atoms X, Y, Z. A solid is formed by three types of atoms X, Y, Z. X forms FCC lattice. Y atoms occupying all the tetrahedral. X forms FCC lattice with Y atoms occupying all the tetrahedral oids, and Z atom occupy half of octahedral oid. Y atom occupy all the tetrahedral oid. Z atom occupy half of tetrahedral oid. Half of tetrahedral oid. The formula of the crystal is 2Y4Z, XY2Z4, X4Y2Z, X4YZ2. Same concept here also you have to apply. Which one is forming crystal lattice? X. X forms the crystal lattice. So the number of atoms of X is equal to, assume one variable small letter x, so number of octahedral load is equal to x. Tetrahedral load is equal to 2x. So all you can find it. Finally, you are getting the answer X2Y4Z. Okay, in the crystalline solid, are you familiar with these two terms? Isomorphism and polymorphism. Isomorphic substances or crystals. Say two crystals or some crystals having same crystalline structure, then that crystals are called isomorphic structure. Same crystalline structure. When you are taking example, ZnSO4 dot 7H2O, MgSO4 dot 7H2. Both are isomorphic. Why they are isomorphic? Both are having same crystalline structure. Polymorphism. Polymorphic means one crystal exists in different forms. Then that crystal is called polymorphic crystals. One crystal exists in different forms. Example, when you are taking is calcium carbonate, different forms it will be existing, calcium carbonate. So it is called polymorphism. You know what are the different forms of calcium carbonate? It exists as calcite. Calcium carbonate, one form is called calcite and another form is called aragonite. Aragonite. So that is polymorphic. These two terms also there in crystalline solid. Isomorphic crystalline substances and polymorphic. Polymorphic, one will be existing in different structure. So these are the content. Only limited number of questions we practice now. More number of questions you have to practice. The most important thing is you collect the ideas, and based on all the ideas you collected, you have to list out and then you practice maximum number of questions. Those who are practicing maximum number of questions only getting the result there in the examination. And the crash course, any entrance, this type of coaching when you are attending, the most important thing you have to do it is practice maximum number of questions. And nowadays some limitations are there. Based on these limitations, when you are practicing the questions, if you are having any doubt is there, that you will be getting the doubt clarification section also there. So through that, you have to clarify your doubt also. Okay, nowadays you are getting more time to practice. The exam also, normally they are conducting in the month of May. Now you are getting July 26th only, tentative date, and other date 26th means a NEET exam date only. So that means you are getting lot of time. Fully free you are now. Under this condition, COVID-19, you all are staying there in the home. So full time you have to practice. we can overcome it. It will take some time, this situation and everything we can overcome. So that will take some time. So you have, after, when it avoid all these, and when we are in the normal condition, so you are not supposed to lose your time. Now this time maximum you have to utilize. So you have to practice well. The most important thing you have to do now is practice more and more questions. Okay. I hope you all understood the topic solid state, the limited time limit. I discussed the content. So you go through and you have to practice well. Wish you all the best. God bless you.